Channel 7 Action News.
Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Malcolm Maddox. I'm Malcolm Maddox. And I'm Malcolm Maddox. We were just talking about you. You're going to love the show we have planned for you today. And it starts with 6:05 and new this morning. A fire on Detroit's east side sends a firefighter to the hospital after crews scramble to find a working fire hydrant with enough pressure to help put out the blaze.
It happened late last night while crews were responding to a fire on Lessing Street.
There are new details this morning about what may have caused more than 200 people to get sick at Michigan's Tough Mudder Run. Doctors say the runners were infected with a norovirus. And now some new information on a woman who was carjacked at gunpoint. We first told you about the story as breaking news yesterday on 7 Action News this morning. Now she's sharing her frightening experience exclusively with us. Take a listen.
He jumped out the car with the gun and made me get out the car, give him my belongings.
Welcome back. It's 4:52. You're watching 7 Action News this morning. In this morning's Health Edge, we're learning about a major breakthrough in cancer treatment. Researchers at the University of Stanford had developed a drug that breaks down cancerous tumors. Happening today, a family may be forced to tear down their 9,000 square foot home. 7 Action News reporter Nima Shafee joins us now from Macomb County Circuit Court with the latest in this ongoing battle. Nima, let's say the family doesn't want to tear down this home. What options do they have? 5:07 and new information this morning. The homicide rate for older children and young adults has apparently hit its lowest point in 3 decades. According to a newly released government report, in 2010, the homicide rate for those between the ages of 10 and 24 was less than half of what it was in 1993. Now to a developing story. Huntington Bank is getting hit with a lawsuit that levels allegations of discrimination. The bank is accused of closing the accounts of Arab Americans simply because of their heritage. Well, this could help you down the road. New information this morning on plans to crank out more fuel-efficient cars. GM has pledged to double the number of models that get at least 40 highway miles per gallon by 2017, and the company plans to cut emissions of its U.S. vehicles by 15% by 2016.
Happening today, the real action revs up on the Detroit River for the Gold Cup races.
A great time to be had. 7 Action News reporter Nima Shafee joins us now live from Detroit. Nima, what can people expect when they head down there? And more importantly, did we find you a ride to get out there on the water? I'm just asking.
We haven't forgotten, Nima.
None of the drivers and none of the teams are willing to let me in their boat. So
insurance liability.
I'm struggling with that, and I'm letting them know that Ed is willing to insure them with money from the sales department. I'm trying to figure out something to let me.
You're turning on some. Yeah.
Watch out.
As parents, we quickly learn to understand our babies' cries when they're hungry, when they're wet, when they're hurt. But a team of researchers in Rhode Island is trying to dig a little deeper with a computer-based tool that analyzes crying. The scientists believe the subtle acoustic characteristics can point to neurological problems or developmental disorders. One researcher notes that adults with autism produce unique sounds, and the cry analyzer might be able to detect autism in babies long before symptoms emerge. New information this morning on last weekend's deadly train derailment in Quebec. 28 people have been confirmed dead. The remaining 22 people are still missing, and they're presumed dead because the heat from the fire was so intense, authorities say the fire may have vaporized them. The victims died last Saturday when a 73-car freight train carrying oil rolled out of control down a hill and exploded into an inferno. The head of the railway company initially blamed the accident on an employee who was said to have failed to properly set the brakes. That employee has been suspended without pay while the investigation continues. Happening today, this story has been the highlight of my week easily. A new exhibit opening at the Detroit Historical Museum, and is shining a light on some very famous Detroiters. The exhibit features photography from a new book entitled Heart Soul Detroit: Conversations on the Motor City, and it includes 50 of the most influential and fascinating Detroiters, people like Berry Gordy and Bill Ford Jr., Bill Bonds, Eminem, Mary Wilson of the Supremes. I got to meet her yesterday. She was in the studio talking about the Motor City.
I had a great childhood here. I mean, for me, it was a carefree. We were poor, but yet still we were very happy. And as I mentioned earlier, the educational system here in Detroit was phenomenal.
A lovely and phenomenal woman. A portion of the proceeds from this book will be donated to Focus Hope. The exhibit will be open and on display through the end of September.
And what an honor for you, right?
You know, I have a Supremes album. I couldn't find it. I tried to bring it, you know. Yeah, I'm like rummaging through my records. They're still all over the place, but easily the highlight of my month. I mean, a phenomenal opportunity.
I bet. And we were looking through that book. It really is really neat.
It is.
So look forward to catching that exhibit.